Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vineet. I am joined by Peter Muller from Raza. It's bright and early here at 7 a.m. on the West Coast. We expect a sunny day today, but I have Peter Muller. It's a little he's on the East Coast. So, Peter, welcome to this LinkedIn Live.
Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are gathered here to discuss about an interesting survey that Raza conducted amongst the Class 2 and Class 3 medical device companies. And the survey spoke and addressed concerns and upcoming topics that are there in the medical devices field. One of the key statistics that we saw was the global medical devices market is projected to grow from $542 billion in 2024 to $886 billion by 2032. Now, the growing importance of advanced medical devices in healthcare is happening as we speak. The advances are happening in transforming healthcare, like infusion pumps, the ECG machines, pacemakers, deep brain stimulators, whatnot, right? So this growth is also driving the rise in importance of regulatory compliance. So this is what we are here to speak about today, and I have highlighted a few questions that I would like to ask Peter about the survey, and we'll discuss the survey outcomes as we go. And here's the first question to you, Peter. How
hmm
involved are the organizations with the key regulatory initiatives like e-labeling and FHIR?
Okay. So e-labeling and fire. According to the survey, 62% of the respondents say they're involved with e-labeling, and 30% are very involved. We also noticed that respondents in Europe are much more likely to be involved than in the USA. So 71% of European respondents are involved versus 53%. So in general, there's a lot of companies that are focusing on e-labeling, so getting their IFUs and DFUs up and published on the web. Fire is also a hot topic. 88% of people are involved with fire, so 16% are very involved or are involved, with 28% being very involved.
Those are some really interesting numbers. So, a lot of traction there, a lot of movement in
Mhm.
the e-labeling and the fire side of things. Oh, what do we have on anti-counterfeiting and UDIs?
So those are also very, let's say, hot topics from a regulatory perspective. 55% of people are involved in anti-counterfeiting, and 24% are highly involved, or very involved. And the same thing with UDI, even slightly higher percentages. 66% are involved, and 26% are very involved. And it kind of makes sense also that the topic is a little bit more popular in the European Union than it is in North America.
Uh, I mean, these are some really strategic regulatory initiatives that are coming in. How are these impacting organizations and the teams?
So the three that we just covered, for e-labeling, fire, and UDI. So for e-labeling, a third of people are responding that their go-to-market cycles are longer, and it's resulting in increased compliance, and actually product development complexity are also key concerns with e-labeling. With fire, there's an increase in GMP and QMS compliance, so quality management systems, good manufacturing practices. And a lot of folks also report workload and cost increases with fire. Similarly, with UDI, there's higher compliance costs, and over a third of people are mentioning longer market access delays.
Hmm, gotcha. Yeah, those increased compliances, increasing complexities. How are organizations dealing with these increased regulations?
Yeah. So I think there's five key areas that the survey showed that
Mhm.
folks are focusing on here. So the first being implementations of kind of key standards or controls, like ISO, for example. Almost 40% of people are using that as an approach to deal with increased regulations. Process automation is another key area that people are focusing on, obviously because it helps streamline their operations. Digitization of processes. So, we've kind of seen this industry wide, where, there's a focus on digitizing information and digitizing their workflows.
Hmm.
Um, Outsourcing is a key kind of initiative that people are focusing on. So, fully a third of folks are collaborating with third parties on these initiatives, and increased regulatory hiring. So people are actually expanding their teams and strengthening their teams to manage kind of the growing regulatory burdens.
Wow, quite a few changes there on the processes and the way things are moving along now.
Mhm.
With these changes, what are some of the biggest challenges the organizations are facing today?
So, kind of leading off with the one that we just finished with, hiring qualified talent is a very key struggle that people are having. We find in Europe it's higher than in the U.S. to finding that key talent. So, 38% of folks in Europe versus 30% in the U.S. Uh, Innovation and new product development is another key challenge that's faced by organizations, and then maintaining their existing products in light of all these new regulatory requirements. 30% of folks are finding that to be a significant challenge.
Hmm. Again, multiple hurdles coming their way. So, with these hurdles coming in, what key projects are organizations planning for this next 2, 3 years in the short-term basis?
Yeah. So, it comes out to, roughly the same across three key areas. So one is improving existing devices. One is kind of dealing with emerging healthcare trends. And the third is testing and working with new materials and technologies. So roughly 30%, so ranging from 32 to 27% on all three of those areas.
Hmm. Interesting. New materials and technologies, 27%. That's a big number. I mean, what technologies are organizations planning to implement to support these key projects?
Yeah. So, interestingly, we found electronic document management or content management systems, labeling management systems, product lifecycle management. Uh, all of those, I guess, you could group into kind of the digitization of the workflows and processes. And then another key finding was 31% of folks are going to be implementing some type of proofreading or content reviewing software.
So that is a significant progress in the industry itself, where
Hmm.
manual approach has been the way to go about things all these years, and 31% is a big number there.
Hmm.
Now, how are organizations managing proofreading and content review process? So, I mean, we spoke about the manual, but do we have some sort of numbers that
Yeah.
add to
Yeah,
this?
particularly of interest for us, Schaffender Haza, and in our software TVT. Yeah, about 36% of folks already have a dedicated software to do that. 34% are using external services, so they're outsourcing the function. That could be a
Hmm.
translation firm, could be a graphic design firm, could be regulatory consulting organization, and still, fully 29% of folks globally are still doing it manually. So manually reading through documents and comparing documents. It's actually more common in the US to be doing manual proofreading than it is in Europe. I think Europe is maybe a little bit further along in adopting, proofreading and content review processes in general.
Yeah, with the increased regulations, those IFU sizes are definitely not going down. If you're
Yep.
doing it manually, you're spending a lot of time. Now, with that said, what are some of the most common challenging packaging and labeling elements to manage.
Yeah, so similarly related to, the IFUs and the DFUs, where your proofreading burner is very heavy. Um, on the packaging labeling side, 65% of folks are struggling and having difficulty managing translations. So that's an interesting one. Multiple languages, multiple different markets. That makes a lot of sense. 61% are facing challenges with barcodes. That also makes sense. We've had some, for UDI, for anti-counterfeiting. We've got some new standards, well, not new, but fairly new in terms of, GS1 barcodes being used. So fully 61% of folks are facing challenges with barcodes.
Mm,
And 60%, which has kind of always been the case, I suspect, is, the medical device symbols and graphics. Are you are you using the correct one? There's one that comes to mind that is, looks very, very similar, upper
mm.
temperature limit versus lower temperature limit, and there's only a slight little line difference there. So I think that's a challenge for folks, right? Using the correct symbols in the correct locations and making sure they're correct.
Yeah, 100%. And there's only so much a human eye can catch. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on the time the reviewer gets the document, again, things change, and it shouldn't be the best guess effort. There are systems out there for folks who are doing it manually, which can offset that for you. Now, from this overall survey, Peter, what is your personal takeaway? I personally see that organizations are more open to adopting software solutions to fix process gaps than it was 5 years ago, right? I mean, we still have 29% who are doing it manually, and
Mhm.
but 31% said they are open to fixing it, which is a great number. There is still a gap, and the onus is both on the industry as well as the vendor community to fill the gap, right? So, be it a CMS or be it a proofreading tool, it's the onus is on both sides. It's not only the vendor who is reaching out; it's also the onus in the organizations to understand where the gap is and fix those gaps so that your processes are complete and more efficient with the increased compliances. We want
Yep.
to reduce the time, not increase the time to market. So, what is your takeaway, Peter?
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Vinod. The device sector obviously is growing rapidly, and so are the regulatory demands. So, companies kind of need to be exploring new systems, new processes, the digitization that we talked about, to ensure, they not only stay competitive, but that they're, remaining compliant and they're not having issues with errors and recalls. So I think, for folks that want to, kind of dive in a little bit deeper, we gave today kind of the summary and the high level of the findings of the research survey we performed. But if they want to dive deeper, you can always come to our website and download the full report. You might be able to get some interesting information for your organization and for your regulatory needs.
Perfect. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, like Peter rightly said, if you are interested in reading the entire survey report, we are more than happy to share that with you. The links here on the comment section for you to just click on the link to access those reports from our website. And if you would like to learn more about the digitization of your proofreading process, we are here to help. Feel free to reach out to us. Again, Peter's contact information, my contact information are right there in the comment section for you. Feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to have that conversation with you. Peter, thank you so much for helping me out with the survey answers there and giving us a quick snapshot. Um, I wish the industry the very best. And again, thanks everyone for joining in. You guys
Yeah,
have a fantastic day. Thank you,
thank you
Peter.
as well, Vinny. Have a great day, everyone, and we're always happy to help.
Thank you.